It's me, Gazbot, to talk about art and things and life. But first, where am I? Sitting in my car. I am not driving, but I am driving in the sense that I am at the drive-thru for Del Taco, but it's not moving, so this is mildly safe. Let's see. This little path in my neighborhood, you know, like 5-minute walk down from my house. It's weird. It's sort of in the middle of the neighborhood. There's this wooded area. I've been here over a year and a half-ish, and I've never walked that way, but I'm realizing that it's connected to a park down the street. Anyway, there's this like little wooded trail with shade. It's not exactly climbing a mountain, but it's like right next to my house, and somehow I've spent a lot of time sitting in my house, as we've discussed in the past. But it's weird because there's even over here, it looks like at some point it was maybe like a little pond or a lake, and there's like a little board. Oh, I just tripped over some barbed wire. Okay, I'm okay. My shoe has a hole in it. Anyway, it looks like at some point this was something. I don't know when. Last year, 10 years ago. I also don't know all this property. I don't know if this belongs to houses in the area collectively, like they each own like 10 feet of it, or if this is owned by the county. The whole thing is very unclear. But I'm walking here. I'm walking. There's so much of this kind of stuff. Like, what is this? Okay, here's like, that's some kind of drip that may or may not be on for irrigation. But then, what is this stuff? Like, was this a fence? But why is it... I don't know. And then there's that, whatever that is, little tub. And then land. What a weird thing to be like right next to my house. And like, while I don't live in an urban area anymore, I'm definitely not like out in the middle of a farm field either. So this is just odd. Like right on the other side of that is a highway, and then over there is like 7-Eleven, and you know, it's just this like, kind of reminds me of Central Park in New York, where it's like, well, what is this doing here? And now another like canopied wooded area. If this is like this in the summer, this is going to be a great shady spot to get out of the house, near my house. So it feels very Bay Area / New Jersey, which I'm happy about. And then there's these big sort of swampy plants. We've had a lot of rain, but typically we're in a drought. But maybe, I don't know. I can see how they exist right now, but how they existed last year, I don't know. It's weird. I live in a weird area. So I think what I'm gonna do, and you'll know this already because I'll have been doing this the whole time, is the video before this was more of a straightforward, here's a horror update, whatever. This one is a little bit more of a vlog, Gazbot report thing, where I'm walking around doing stupid stuff. But I definitely wanna incorporate art when I can. And so I've been doing some Power Rangers prints and things like that. So anything, I'll be having art running on the side while I'm doing this, I guess, as a way of kind of satisfying both needs. And again, I don't know what I'll be doing going forward. I'm just going to do what I feel like when I feel like it, and that's what I feel like doing right now. So yeah, I started working on a Bat in the Sun Green Ranger. I was sort of done with my batch of prints, and then I just started working on this other one for reasons. Like I was doodling it, and then it was like, oh, this is kind of coming out okay. But then I did the thing I always do, where like in about an hour of doodling while I was on the phone and doing other things, I got a pretty good rough. And now I've spent like 5 hours reworking it, retooling it, redrawing it to a point where I'm like, it's okay. And now I'm going to start inking it. So, but the good news is when I'm done with that, I'm definitely going to send this batch of prints out and not make any new prints unless I book a show where there's an actor that's going to be there that I don't have art for. And right now that is not something I have on the horizon. So just my 10 sketch cards I got to do. And I finished the page of the Horror 4 that I was working on in the previous video. So that's done, and I'm ready to start the next one. When I go home today, I'm probably gonna be finishing up or working on the Bat in the Sun Green Ranger. What I'll probably do is work on finishing the inks and then stop and do the colors another day. And if I have enough time, I will start on the horror today as well. Today is Sunday, just for those that care. Yeah, I'm gonna walk some more. I went out to eat for brunch yesterday, and I brought my sunglasses, and I think I lost them. I couldn't find them in the car or anywhere else when I got home. I called the place. They said they hadn't been turned in. And they were not an expensive pair of sunglasses. They were like, I think $18. Oh my gosh, I have to crawl to get through here. They were like $18. Just came through that. So I doubt anybody like stole them, but it's disappointing because now I gotta go buy a new pair of sunglasses. Why am I thinking about sunglasses all of a sudden, you might wonder? Well, yes. But I never spent more than a couple bucks on a pair of sunglasses. Like 3, 5, 7. And more recently, because I'd always lose them, break them, whatever. And more recently, it's like, hey, I could splurge. What is this weird plant I just stepped on? Look at this. It feels like rubber. I almost want to call it aloe, although I know it's not aloe, but crazy. And there's tons of it. Anyway, I splurged and got myself like an $18, $20 pair of sunglasses. It's like the third one I've got in recent time. And all 3 of them I've lost in less than a year, which, you know, again, it's not like, I'm broke, how will I ever get another pair of sunglasses? But look at this. See that hole? That's not the first one I've seen. That is the first one I've seen that has Ziploc bags in it. I don't know what's going on. People are doing projects, archaeology. The point is, I need to get a pair of sunglasses. That's the point. Okay, that's the park near my house. So this is what I was saying of how this trail kind of connects to the park. This isn't the way I normally go because I didn't have to like duck under branches and step over things previously. But yeah, this is weird. Apropos of nothing, the other day I went to pick up a pizza and I had ordered ahead, so I was just picking it up. And there was somebody sitting there, I guess, waiting for an order they had just put in. And actually this path went kind of behind my house too. So this is crazy. And while I was waiting for them to bring it out, there was a guy sitting there. I don't know how old he was, a little bit older than me, I guess. And my hair has dyed, and he's like, oh, I like the color. It was a little brighter than it is now, but still more faded than when it's fresh. Hey, birds. And he said, oh, yeah, I like the color. I'm like, oh, thanks. I'm like, yeah, it's a little faded. He's like, yeah, you got to brighten that up. I'm like, all right, you know, thanks for the tips on hair care that I didn't solicit. But anyway, the compliment was fine. The instructing me to freshen it up was sort of like, was that an insult? I don't know. But then I turned back and I was waiting and I got my pizza or whatever. When I turned back around, and I'm forgetting exactly what he said, but something along the lines of like, oh, look at he goes, oh, you're bigger than I thought. And I'm like, what? And he's like sitting down and I'm like, I mean, tall? I'm not that tall. I'm like very average height. I think I'm like 5'9", 5'10", something like that. So I'm certainly not been described as tall, and nothing could change. I didn't like stand up or something. I'm like, what? And he's like, your legs. Now, I have reasonably large calf muscles. I don't work out especially, but I've always had them. It's just genetic in my family. And I'm like, I guess that's what he's talking about, but what a weird thing to comment on. And like he thought I was skinny, and then he looked at my legs and they weren't. I don't know. I didn't know what it meant exactly. And so I said that. I'm like, oh, okay. And he's like, yeah, you're like, he goes, yeah, you're bigger than I thought, or thicker than I thought, or something that might have been an insult, like I'm fat, you know? And I'm like, okay. I said, I don't know if that's an insult or a compliment. And he's like, no. And he didn't say it's a compliment, but he goes, no, I mean like a sumo wrestler. Nothing against sumo wrestlers and nothing against big people. But while I could stand to lose a few pounds, I'm not a sumo wrestler. So I guess maybe he meant my legs, like because I have muscles on my legs, I'm a sumo wrestler. So I was like, and then he put up a hand for a fist bump. I'm like, boom, there you go. Okay. But he was smiling, and so I took it. And it was weird. And I have these encounters a lot where people just decide to engage me in non-standard ways, and that's fine as long as they're not jerks or dangerous or something. But I have to duck again here. But afterwards, I thought about it, and I'm like, yeah, I have no issue with that. It didn't bother me, and I borderline liked it because I like being the center of attention. So the idea that this person had to comment on me, like it's weird because another person, this might have offended. They might not have liked it. It might have been like, ugh, and it was weird. It was objectively weird. But I was like, I kind of left with like a spring on my step. Like, yeah, I'm like a sumo wrestler. Yeah, that's right. I'm bigger than he thought. So anyway, I'm weird. He's weird. The world's weird. Okay, and here I am coming out on a road that is not it's near my neighborhood, but this is like a main road by my neighborhood. So I guess that's the end of the walk other than walking home. So once again, I kind of just ended my walk or whatever, and there was no ending to the video. So you could just watch this process for a few minutes longer. Editing this, I'm in the future. I'm about a week past when I recorded this. And while I'm trying not to set any rules or expectations for these videos so that I don't get burned out, I realize I'm quickly developing a deficit or idea debt or whatever you want to call it, where I have a week's worth of stuff to go through that I haven't. And I don't know, I might just try to do a quick catch up one. Maybe I'll do another one this week, or maybe I won't worry about it and just, whatever. I don't know. The point is, I don't like now that I'm a week behind. I would prefer that I get through my week. Like that was Sunday, but that wasn't, today's Monday and it wasn't yesterday. It was a week ago. So I would prefer to be putting these up Sunday night, like, hey, that was my week, especially because then people comment and it's like, oh, that was a week ago. What did I say? What was I feeling? The process video you've been watching is 100% done in Procreate on my iPad Pro with an Apple Pencil. And it's 2 Power Rangers from Time Force Green, Time Force Green and Quantum Ranger. And that finishes out my Time Force set. So once I make a print of this, hopefully I will sell some of those as sets because people do like sets. And the prints I'm working on, I created 5 or 6 new ones. And I was trying to put the print order in last night. But there were 3 reprints I needed to do. And as I've talked before about my computer woes, one of them I found relatively quickly. One of them I had to search through old hard drives, and after a half hour to an hour, I did find it. One of them I still haven't found. And the one I haven't found is a bad mix of some of these I did a long time ago where it wouldn't be the end of the world if I had to redraw it. Not time-wise, I shouldn't be wasting it on that, but it's like, you know what? This is an older one. I could redraw it. It's not that. It's more recent, and it's one of my more favorite in terms of artwork. So I have no incentive to redo it because I'm like, I'm not going to do it better than that. And on the other side, it's also not one of my best sellers. In fact, it doesn't sell well at all. So the idea of trying to recreate one of my favorite pieces of artwork for a print that barely sells, it's not going to happen. However, I do have a sort of soft goal of doing every Power Ranger helmet there is as art/print eventually. The art still exists. I could find digital versions to prove, if I was just showing that I did everyone. But in terms of if somebody wanted to buy it, I would have to redraw it if I can't find it. But how much time I'm going to spend looking, I don't know. But that's where I am right now. She's Applejack. All right. So have a good one. This has been Gazbot. And I'm going to try to, again, I hate to commit to this, but what I'm going to try to do is put something up every Monday and create some kind of schedule, because apparently algorithms like that, and habits, repetitive things form habits, and reinforcement and accountability and all that stuff we all know about. Keep drawing. The end.